We're right at the beginning here. And last video we talked about grip, how to hold the stick, matched grip. So you should have already watched and reviewed all of that. Let's now go through the steps to properly hold the stick for traditional grip. Now, obviously, we talked about for matched grip, left hand is exactly the same as the right. So you can learn that all in the previous video. But if you have the desire to play traditional grip, which is a very cool traditional way to drum, it's a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of subtleties and nuances out of your left hand by playing traditional grip. Some of the greatest drum set players of all times play traditional grip almost exclusively, and I think that's kind of fun to see. People like Buddy Rich and Steve Gadd and Vinnie Colaiuta and Dave Weckl, and watch those guys play drum set and play traditional grip. So let's talk about traditional grip. Put your hand out like this. Put your stick down in this webbed part of your hand. And ultimately, if you find the balance point of your stick, just so you can do this in the right place on the stick, your fingers are going to ultimately be just a little behind that balance point. So you're back probably 3/4 of the way on the stick where it touches this webbed part in your hand. Get that in there like that. Then your third and fourth fingers, they create one team, one unit, and the stick rests just behind, right at the base of your fingernail, right in front of that first knuckle or first joint of your third finger. Then your first and second finger lay right over the top, and your thumb comes down and touches the first knuckle of your first finger, that first main joint. Okay? That's what that looks like. Now, so you can see the way I've got the stick here. This is together. Some people keep this set, got to connect these two things together. This is like, these two fingers make a unit, and then at the very end they split into this V right there. But these both lay over. Your second finger gives you a lot of strength and support. Supports that first finger. So a big common mistake is to let that middle finger go off on its own and not do its job. Keep it up there. The other thing is you want to create kind of a teardrop shape with this part of your hand. The stick is right in there. And sometimes people will curve their first finger too much, roll it around like that, create this kind of teardrop shape. The contact between your thumb and first finger is very, very important. And that should be right on top of the stick. So, third and fourth finger in there, wrap that around the top. There you go. Now, the next thing is this needs to be down. Sometimes people will let this part of their hand roll up like that. That's not good. Keep this down like this, kind of a ski slope action. So if I hold my stick in rest position, my arm hangs comfortably at my side. You can see my elbow shouldn't be behind me or out in front of me. It just hangs down to my side. My elbow bends. There's where the center of my drum should be. I don't tuck my elbow in. I don't stick it out. I just let it hang there comfortably. This part of my arm is pretty much straight, but the wrist should be ever so slightly bent inward. If I just bent my arm and made my arm completely straight, see, that's about where the bead of my stick would be. And if I just pull the bead over to the center, that's perfect. So you can see that relaxed forearm. The drum height should be, sometimes in traditional grip, it feels like you want the drum to be just a little bit higher. I feel that sometimes, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, your forearm is pretty much parallel with the ground. And this slopes downward to your wrist. You don't want your wrist to be up like this. This should slope downward to your wrist. Next thing, I like to grab the other stick to illustrate this. Hold this in rest position. I should be able to put this stick on there like that. Probably the most common mistake in traditional grip is this. People turn their hand over. They maybe get their fingers and thumb pretty much right, but then they hold the stick over like this. That's really bad. That's not going to give you the motion you need. You got to get this turned up. I should be able to put a stick right there and it would stay. Now I have a little bit of latitude. You know, I could be right here and it's still going to stay, but if I roll my hand over enough that slides off, I'm too far. Too far over. There you go. That's the hand position. Grip the stick here, grip the stick here. We talked about all available skin on the stick with the right hand. Left hand is the same concept. Now there's not quite as much hand on the stick, but all the skin that should be on the stick should be on the stick. Don't let this be open here or loose here. Wrap the skin around the stick, lay it on the stick, and then you can relax your hand and have the stick connected to your hand. Okay, so that's the grip and the hand position. Next lesson, we'll go on and start moving the stick and talk about the way to move your left hand. Good job.